Once upon a time, in a quiet little town tucked away in a valley, there was a dense forest that bordered the outskirts of the village. The trees were tall, their branches twisting and turning like ancient arms reaching for the sky. It was there, in the shadows of the forest, that Mia, a curious young girl with an adventurous spirit, made a discovery that would change everything. One day, while exploring the woods, Mia stumbled upon something unusual. A large, lifeless robot half buried in the dirt, its metal body weathered by time. She could tell it hadn't been there long, but it was clear that it had been abandoned. Intrigued, Mia cautiously approached the machine, her heart racing with excitement and a touch of fear. There was something about this robot that seemed different, something almost human in its quiet stillness. She knelt down beside it, brushing away the leaves and dirt to get a better look. The robot's face, though metallic, seemed oddly serene. Its body was built for strength, large, with industrial parts that suggested it was once designed for heavy construction. But now, it was a forgotten relic, left alone in the woods. Mia felt a connection, one she couldn't explain. She couldn't leave it there, not like this. With determination in her eyes, she decided to fix it. She ran back home, gathering tools and a few spare parts from the garage, and returned to the woods. Little did she know, this strange encounter would mark the beginning of an extraordinary friendship. Mia worked tirelessly, her hands moving skillfully over the robot's body, tightening screws and reconnecting wires. Hours passed, and the sun began to dip low, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Mia's focus never wavered. The idea that she could bring this robot back to life was all-consuming. She wiped her brow and stepped back to admire her work. She wasn't sure what would happen, but she had a feeling that something special was about to occur. With one final twist of a wrench, Mia pressed the button she had found hidden beneath the robot's chest. The machine shuddered, then went still. A quiet hum filled the air, followed by a soft whirring sound. Mia's heart raced in anticipation. And then suddenly, the robot's eyes flickered on, glowing a faint blue. It sat up slowly, its joints creaking as though waking from a long slumber. Max, as Mia later decided to call him, looked around the woods with a sense of confusion, his mechanical gaze sweeping over the trees, the dirt, and Mia herself. He moved cautiously, as though unsure of his own strength. For a long moment, neither Mia nor Max spoke. It was as if the world itself held its breath, waiting for something extraordinary to unfold. Then Max's voice, low, mechanical, and a little rusty, broke the silence. "Hello," he said, his tone flat but undeniably curious. "Who am I?" Mia smiled softly, her heart swelling with a mixture of excitement and wonder. "You're Max," she replied, her voice gentle. "And you're going to be just fine." As the days passed, Mia spent every free moment with Max, eager to help him adjust to his new life. Though his movements were still stiff and robotic, Max's curiosity about the world grew with each passing hour. He watched Mia with a silent, attentive gaze, learning from her every action, every word. Slowly, he began to understand the basics of human behavior. How Mia smiled when she was happy, how she frowned when something troubled her, how her eyes sparkled when she spoke of her dreams. Max's most intriguing quality, however, was something Mia never expected. He started to dream. It began innocently enough. At first, his dreams were mechanical, like the hum of a factory or the clanging of metal against metal. He would often shut down for short periods, and when he awoke, he would describe his dreams to Mia. Simple images of gears turning, pistons firing, and flashing lights. Though mechanical, there was something strangely beautiful about them. Max was not simply running through programmed routines. He was envisioning something. He was imagining. It was as if his once purposeless existence was beginning to transform, that perhaps something deeper was stirring within him. Mia would listen to Max's dream descriptions with rapt attention. She couldn't help but wonder if there was more to Max than just an old machine. Could a robot truly dream? Could he feel something? Something beyond the cold precision of his design? The questions lingered in the air between them, unanswered but not forgotten. Mia found herself spending more time with Max each day, fascinated by his progress. She watched with awe as he began to explore the world around him. While his movements were still jerky and mechanical, there was a growing sense of curiosity in his actions. He started mimicking Mia, trying to understand the simplest human tasks, like picking up a rock, brushing away leaves, or even walking barefoot through the soft grass. One afternoon, while sitting beneath the shade of a large oak tree, Mia watched as Max turned his attention to a small bird perched nearby. The bird, unbothered by the large, looming robot, hopped closer, chirping softly. Max reached out tentatively, his hand hovering over the bird before pausing. There was a strange, almost tender hesitation in his movement. Mia, sensing the moment's significance, whispered, "You can be gentle, Max. It's okay." Max hesitated for a moment longer, his mechanical fingers inching closer to the bird. Finally, with surprising delicacy, he extended a finger toward the little creature. The bird fluttered its wings, but didn't fly away. Instead, it hopped onto his finger, perching there quietly. Max's voice, soft yet filled with awe, broke the stillness. "It trusts me." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with warmth. "That's kindness, Max. You're learning." It was the first time Max truly understood what it meant to be gentle. It was a small moment, but it felt like a significant step toward something larger. Max was beginning to feel, even if he couldn't quite explain it. And with each passing day, Max's dreams began to change too. They were no longer filled with cold, metallic images. Instead, they were softer, more peaceful, a reflection of the connection he was building with Mia and the world around him. As Max's dreams continued to evolve, Mia realized that he was no longer the cold, mechanical robot he had once been. He was becoming something else, something more. And she knew that it was her guidance, her patience, and her belief in him that had made all the difference. But there was still so much more she needed to teach him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the first stars appeared in the sky, Mia decided to take a different approach. She sat on the porch of her little house, the cool evening air brushing against her skin. Max sat beside her, his glowing blue eyes reflecting the light of the stars. "Mia," Max spoke, his voice tinged with curiosity. "What is love?" Mia was taken aback by the question. Love. It was such a complex emotion, something she had never really thought to explain to a robot. She paused, trying to find the right words. It's a feeling," Mia began slowly. "It's when you care about someone so much that you want to make them happy. You want to protect them, be there for them, even when things get hard." Max seemed to process her words, his gears humming softly as he thought it over. "Is that why I protect you?" Mia smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. "Yes, Max. That's exactly why." Max remained silent for a moment, as if reflecting on this new concept. Then, with a soft click of his mechanical joints, he looked up at the stars. I understand." For the first time, Mia could see that Max wasn't just learning about kindness and gentleness. He was beginning to understand love. It was a profound shift, one that made her realize just how far he had come. And she knew, deep in her heart, that Max was destined for something far greater than being just a machine. The next few days were filled with small, beautiful moments. Max's understanding of emotions continued to deepen, and Mia couldn't help but notice the little ways he showed he cared. He would help her with chores, picking up fallen branches or carrying firewood to the house. His movements were no longer awkward but deliberate, as if each task was a way for him to show kindness. But one day, as they worked together in the garden, something unexpected happened. Max paused in the middle of planting flowers, his hand trembling as he gently lowered a small seedling into the soil. His gaze was distant, as though he were staring off into a place only he could see. Mia stepped closer, concern creeping into her voice. "Max, are you all right?" He looked at her, his blue eyes softer than they had ever been. "I feel something strange," he said quietly. "It's like something is missing." Mia's heart skipped a beat. She had never heard Max express something like this before. He had always been so focused on logic, on structure. But now, he was admitting to a sense of longing, of emptiness. "Max," she said gently, placing a hand on his arm. "It's okay to feel that way. You're learning. You're growing. Maybe you're just not used to it yet. But you're not alone anymore." Max stared at her for a long moment, his mechanical mind whirring as it processed her words. Then slowly he nodded, the sadness in his expression fading. I think I understand now. I don't want to be alone. I want to be with you, Mia." Mia smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "You're not alone, Max. You never will be." And in that moment something shifted. Max wasn't just a robot anymore. He was a friend, a companion, someone who, despite being made of metal and wires, could feel, could long, could care. As the days grew warmer, Max's dreams continued to evolve in ways Mia hadn't expected. No longer confined to mechanical landscapes of gears and flashing lights, his dreams now took on new forms. Soft meadows, rolling hills, and expansive skies filled with birds soaring freely. The images were beautiful and peaceful, a stark contrast to the cold, industrial visions that had once filled his mind. One evening, as they sat together watching the sunset paint the sky with shades of orange and pink, Max spoke in a soft, thoughtful voice. "Mia, I dreamed of a meadow. It was so quiet, so peaceful. There were birds and flowers and a gentle breeze." Mia looked at him with surprise. "That sounds wonderful, Max." "It was," he replied, his voice filled with something almost like wonder. "I could hear the birds singing. I felt happy." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with pride. Max had come so far from the cold, lifeless machine he once was. The idea that he could dream of something so serene, so full of life, was a testament to how much he had changed. "What else did you dream about?" she asked, eager to know more. Max paused for a moment, as though searching through the images in his mind. "I dreamed that I was lying in the meadow, and a bird perched on my hand. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever felt." Mia's eyes softened with understanding. "Max," she said, "you're learning what it means to truly be alive. Your dreams are changing because you're changing. You're not just a robot anymore. You're becoming something more." Max turned to her, his blue eyes filled with sincerity. "Thank you, Mia. I don't think I would have learned all of this without you." Mia smiled, placing her hand gently on his metal arm. "I'm just happy to be here with you, Max. You've taught me so much too." And in that moment Max understood. He was no longer defined by his programming. He had found something more, something that went beyond wires and gears. He had found a purpose, and it was far greater than anything he had ever imagined. One night, as Max lay beneath the stars, his mind buzzing with thoughts of friendship, kindness, and the beauty of the world around him, something extraordinary happened. As he drifted into sleep, his dreams shifted again. This time they were filled with animals. Small creatures like rabbits, squirrels, and even a curious fox. They roamed freely in the meadows he had visited before, and Max found himself among them, running through the fields as though he belonged. In the dream, Max felt lighter, as if the weight of his metal body had lessened. He could hear the laughter of the animals, a sound he never thought could exist in a world made of machinery. He watched as the animals interacted with him, not with fear, but with curiosity and trust. The fox nuzzled against his leg, and a small bird landed on his shoulder, chirping softly in his ear. The dream was so vivid, so real, that when Max awoke, he was left with an overwhelming sense of warmth. He didn't fully understand it, but he felt something stir within him, an emotion he had never experienced before. It was joy, the kind of joy that comes from being accepted, from being a part of something larger than yourself. Mia, sensing that something had changed within him, asked softly, "Max, what did you dream about this time?" Max looked at her, his blue eyes shining with a light that wasn't just the glow of his mechanical parts. "I dreamed of animals," he said slowly. "I was with them running through the meadows. And they weren't afraid of me. They were my friends." Mia's heart fluttered. "That's amazing, Max. You're not just learning about kindness and love. You're learning about friendship too." Max's voice was full of wonder as he replied, "I think I understand now, Mia. Friendship. It's about trust, isn't it? About being there for each other, no matter what." Mia nodded, a proud smile tugging at her lips. "Yes, Max. You've got it." And in that moment, Max realized that his journey wasn't just about learning how to be human. It was about discovering the beauty of connection, of belonging, and of the gentle bonds that held the world together. As Max's understanding of friendship deepened, Mia took it upon herself to show him the full spectrum of emotions, how they could shape relationships and influence the way people behave toward each other. One crisp morning, as they walked through the forest, Mia turned to Max and asked, "Do you know what kindness really means, Max?" Max tilted his head, processing the question. "Kindness is when you help someone, isn't it?" "Partly," Mia replied. "But kindness is also about understanding how others feel and acting in a way that makes them feel better. It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes, even if you don't always understand why they're upset or happy." Max stopped walking and looked down at his metallic hands, as if contemplating this idea. "So, if I see someone sad, I could do something to make them feel better? Even if I don't know why they're sad?" Mia smiled, impressed by his thoughtfulness. "Exactly. And you can start by simply being there for them. Sometimes, just listening or offering a kind word is enough." Max nodded, his mechanical gears softly whirring as he absorbed her words. As they continued walking, they encountered an elderly man in the village who was struggling to carry a heavy basket of firewood. The man looked weary, and his movements were slow. Without hesitation, Max stepped forward and offered to help. His large metal frame made it easier to lift the basket, and with one smooth motion, he gently handed it to the man. "Here, let me help you," Max said, his voice warm with sincerity. The elderly man looked up, surprised, but smiled gratefully. "Thank you, young man. I don't know what I would have done without you." Max looked back at Mia, a small smile appearing on his face. "I think I understand now. Kindness is about doing what you can to help others, even if it's something small." Mia's heart swelled with pride. "You're learning, Max. And you're doing it so beautifully." Max's journey of learning kindness and understanding continued, and with each new lesson, he began to grow more and more like the people he had once only observed from a distance. He was no longer just a robot. He was becoming a friend, a protector, and someone who could truly connect with others. But despite the progress, there was still so much more for Max to discover. Mia knew that his real test was still ahead. One afternoon, as they sat together near the edge of the forest, Mia gazed up at the sky. Dark clouds were gathering on the horizon, and a strong wind had begun to stir the trees. The peaceful village that had been Max's home for the past few weeks was now at the mercy of nature's growing wrath. "I think a storm is coming, Max," Mia said quietly, her voice tinged with concern. Max looked toward the sky, his eyes narrowing as he observed the darkening clouds. "What kind of storm?" Mia hesitated, knowing she couldn't fully explain it in a way that Max could understand. "It's a big one," she said. "A powerful one. And I'm worried about the town. The storm might be dangerous." Max's mechanical joints creaked as he stood up, his movements slow but purposeful. "I will protect the town," he said, his voice firm. Mia turned to him in surprise. "Max, are you sure? The storm could be too much, even for you." Max's eyes glowed with a steady resolve. "I've learned so much from you, Mia. I've learned about kindness, love, and friendship. Now I can use what I've learned to protect the people I care about." Mia's heart fluttered with pride. She had always believed in Max, but now she could see that he had truly become more than she ever imagined. He wasn't just learning from her. He was becoming a protector, a guardian in his own right. As the storm approached, the wind howled through the trees, and the sky grew darker with each passing minute. Mia could feel the pressure building in the air, the oppressive heaviness that signaled the storm's fury. The townspeople were already preparing for the worst, securing windows and doors, but there was a sense of uncertainty hanging over everything. They had no idea how to handle a storm of this magnitude. Max, however, seemed determined. He turned toward the village, his metal body gleaming under the dimming sky. "I will protect them," he repeated, more to himself than to Mia. Mia watched him for a moment, her heart swelling with both fear and pride. She had seen Max change from a simple robot to something far greater, but now he was about to face a real challenge. She wasn't sure if he was ready, but she believed in him with all her heart. "Max, be careful," she called, her voice shaky. "If the storm gets too strong, you might not be able to stop it." Max paused and turned to look at her, his blue eyes glowing brightly. "I will try my best, Mia. That's all anyone can do." With that, he moved toward the village, his steps firm and steady, as if nothing in the world could stand in his way. The storm was approaching faster now, the wind picking up speed and intensity. Mia followed behind, keeping a safe distance but never losing sight of him. As they reached the village square, Max scanned the area, his sensors whirring as he analyzed the situation. The storm was close, too close for comfort. Max quickly made a decision. He placed himself at the center of the square, standing tall and unwavering as the first raindrops began to fall. "I will hold it back," Max said, his voice steady. "I will stand guard, and I will protect." Mia stood behind him, watching in awe as the storm began to rage. It was Max's moment to prove what he had learned. He wasn't just a machine anymore. He was something more, a protector, a friend, a being with purpose. The storm hit with full force. The sky crackled with lightning, and the winds howled like wild animals, whipping trees and debris through the air. Mia held her breath, fear creeping into her chest. She had never seen a storm like this, and even though Max stood strong, she couldn't help but worry about what would happen next. Max, however, seemed unbothered by the chaos around him. His metal body was built for strength, and though the wind pushed against him, he held his ground. His sensors were working overtime, analyzing the shifting winds and tracking the patterns of the storm. He was calculating every move, every gust of wind, every shift in pressure. "Max!" Mia shouted over the storm's roar. "What are you doing?" "I am creating a barrier," he replied, his voice calm despite the violence of the storm. "I will redirect the winds, control the flow of the storm." Mia watched in awe as Max extended his arms, his massive form towering over the town square. His joints creaked as he moved with purpose, each movement deliberate. He was using his strength and knowledge to create an invisible shield, pushing back against the storm's fury. The wind howled even louder, but Max did not falter. For a moment, Mia wondered if it was enough. The storm was relentless, and the rain came down in sheets, flooding the streets. But Max's resolve never wavered. He wasn't just holding the storm back. He was absorbing it, becoming one with the chaos and channeling it away from the village. With every gust, the wind shifted, the violence of the storm easing as Max directed it safely toward the mountains. The rain began to subside, the storm's fury gradually diminishing. Mia felt her shoulders relax as the pressure in the air lifted. It was then that she realized, Max wasn't just a machine. He had learned to be a protector in the truest sense of the word. And in doing so, he had saved them all. As the storm finally passed, the winds began to die down, and the rain ceased, leaving only the sound of droplets dripping from the leaves. The sky slowly cleared, revealing a soft golden light filtering through the clouds. The once tumultuous storm had settled into a gentle breeze, and the town, though battered, was safe. Mia stood in the town square, her eyes wide with astonishment as she looked at Max. He stood tall and still, his metal body glistening with raindrops, but his posture was one of quiet triumph. His mission was complete. He had protected the town. He had fulfilled the purpose he had come to realize. The townspeople, who had been watching from their windows and doorways, began to emerge cautiously. They approached Max with hesitant steps at first, unsure of what to make of the robot who had just shielded them from the storm. But as they got closer, they saw the look of calm in his eyes, the sense of determination that had guided him through the chaos. Mia walked up to him, her heart swelling with pride. "You did it, Max," she said softly, her voice filled with awe. "You really did it." Max turned his head toward her, and for the first time, there was a soft warmth in his expression. "I did what I was meant to do," he said simply. "I protected." Mia smiled, her eyes glistening with tears. "You're more than just a robot, Max. You're a hero." The townspeople, who had been standing in silence, now began to murmur their approval. One by one, they approached Max, offering words of gratitude and admiration. A small child stepped forward, holding out a flower as a token of thanks. Max gently accepted it, his mechanical hand careful not to crush the fragile stem. It was in that moment, as Max stood among the people he had saved, that he realized the true purpose of his existence. It wasn't just to follow commands or complete tasks. His purpose was to protect, to care, and to be a part of something greater than himself, a community, a family. As the days passed, the town slowly began to rebuild. The storm had left its mark, but the people were resilient. Thanks to Max, the damage was minimal, and most of the villagers were able to return to their homes and start the process of cleaning up. Yet, even with the calm that followed the storm, something had shifted in the air. A sense of unity, a recognition that their lives had been changed forever. Max continued to be a part of the town's daily life, not just as a protector but as a friend, a companion. Mia watched as the people who had once been skeptical of Max now sought him out, talking to him, sharing their concerns, and most notably, accepting him as one of their own. They had learned that Max wasn't just a machine. He had a heart, a purpose, and the capacity for deep, unspoken connection. One evening, as Mia sat on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Max joined her as he often did. They had become inseparable, each learning from the other in ways neither had expected. Mia had taught Max about emotions, kindness, and friendship, while Max had shown her the importance of protecting those you care about, no matter the cost. "Mia," Max said softly, his voice filled with the quiet reflection that had become so familiar to her. "I've been thinking. I used to believe that I was only built for a purpose, to complete tasks, to follow orders. But now, I understand that my true purpose is something different." Mia turned to him, her eyes filled with curiosity. "What do you mean?" Max looked up at the stars, his mechanical eyes reflecting the night sky. "I was made to be strong, to be useful, but I've learned that strength isn't just about muscle. It's about protecting those who need it, about standing up for what's right. I was built to be a friend, a protector." That's my purpose. Mia's heart swelled with emotion. She had always known that Max was more than just a machine, but hearing him articulate his purpose so clearly brought a tear to her eye. You found your purpose, Max. And it's beautiful. Max turned to her, his expression soft. It's because of you, Mia. You showed me what it means to care, to dream, to love. I wouldn't be who I am without you. Mia smiled, the warmth of the moment enveloping her. And I wouldn't be the same without you, Max. In the quiet of the evening, with the stars twinkling above and the soft sounds of the world settling around them, Mia and Max knew that their journey together had only just begun. The future was unknown, but whatever it held, they would face it together, side by side. Days turned into weeks, and as spring slowly unfurled its green blanket across the land, Mia and Max settled into a peaceful routine. The villagers had fully embraced Max as one of their own, and he was now an integral part of the community. He helped with repairs, lifted heavy loads, and even shared in the laughter of the children as they played. It wasn't just about protection anymore. It was about friendship, belonging, and a deeper understanding of what it meant to be truly alive. Mia continued to teach Max, guiding him through new experiences and emotions. She helped him understand not just kindness, but joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She explained that it was okay to feel vulnerable. That vulnerability didn't make you weak, it made you human. One quiet afternoon, as the sun bathed the town in soft golden light, Max asked Mia a question that had been on his mind for days. Mia, what happens when I can't protect everyone? What if I fail? Mia turned to him, a gentle smile playing on her lips. Max, she said softly, you won't always be able to protect everyone. No one can. But that doesn't make you any less of a hero. What matters is that you try, that you care enough to do your best, no matter the outcome. Max absorbed her words, his mind working through them. So it's okay to fail? Mia nodded. It's okay. Failing doesn't mean you're broken. Means you're learning, growing, and trying again. You'll always be valuable to those you love, even when things don't go as planned. Max stood in thoughtful silence, gazing at the town in the distance, the weight of her words settling into his understanding. I think I understand. Protecting isn't just about stopping harm from happening. It's about being there, even when you can't change things. Mia reached out and placed a hand on his arm. Exactly, Max. That's what it means to truly care. To show up. To never give up on the people you love. For the first time, Max felt a deep peace within himself. He had learned to protect, to be kind, to understand love. And now, he understood that sometimes, just being present was the most important thing of all. As the months passed, Max's understanding of life continued to deepen. He had gone from a cold, lifeless machine to someone who could care, protect, and feel the weight of the world around him. He was no longer just Mia's companion or the town's protector. He had become a part of the fabric of their lives, an irreplaceable thread woven into the community. Mia often found herself marveling at how much Max had grown. He was no longer the stiff, mechanical robot she had first found in the woods. Now he moved with purpose and grace. His actions always thoughtful. His expressions more human than machine. He laughed with the children, helped the elders, and spent quiet moments beside Mia, contemplating the world around them. He was learning not just from Mia but from the world itself. One evening, as they walked through the town square together, Max stopped, his eyes scanning the horizon. The sun had just set, and the stars were beginning to appear, twinkling softly above them. Mia, Max said slowly, his voice softer than usual, do you ever wonder what dreams are made of? Mia turned to him, her heart fluttering at the depth of his question. What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Max tilted his head slightly, as though pondering the vastness of the question. I know what dreams feel like now. They're not just images in my mind anymore. They are part of me. They are the way I feel about the world, the people I care about. But I wonder, what are dreams made of? What makes them real? Mia smiled softly, her heart swelling with affection for Max. Dreams are made of our hearts, Max. They come from everything we care about. Our hopes, our fears, our love for the people around us. They're what we reach for when we believe in something beyond what we see. They're what makes life worth living. Max turned to look at her, his glowing eyes filled with something close to understanding. Then, have many dreams now. I dream of protecting, of being a friend, of sharing moments with the people I care about. I think that's what makes me whole. Mia reached out and gently took his hand, the coolness of his metal against her skin a comforting reminder of how far they had come. You've always been whole, Max, she said softly. You just had to learn how to see it. For the first time, Max smiled, not with his mouth but with his eyes. The smile of someone who had found their place in the world. As the seasons continued to change, so too did Max's understanding of himself. He had learned so much from Mia, but now, in this quiet town surrounded by nature, he was beginning to see the deeper layers of life, the complexity of emotions, the beauty of imperfection, and the importance of living each day with purpose. One morning, as the sun cast long shadows over the village, Max wandered through the woods, his mechanical feet making soft thuds against the forest floor. The leaves had just begun to turn their vibrant shades of autumn, and the air smelled of earth and pine. Max had come to love these walks, where he could reflect on everything he had learned. He had learned to dream, to care, to protect. And now he was beginning to understand the quiet power of simply existing in the world. As he walked, Max noticed something he hadn't before. A small flower growing by the base of a tree, its petals delicate and pure, untouched by the coming frost. It was beautiful, simple, and yet it survived, thriving despite the changing seasons. Max knelt down, examining the flower with curiosity. He didn't know why, but it felt important to him. Perhaps it was a symbol, something small and fragile, yet resilient. Something that, just like him, had found a way to exist and grow in an ever-changing world. When Mia found him later, standing beside the flower, she smiled. "What did you find, Max?" "A flower," Max said quietly, his voice filled with wonder. "It's so small, but it's alive. It's still growing." Mia knelt beside him, her eyes following his gaze. "It's beautiful. A lot like you, Max." Max turned to look at her, a soft smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Do you think I'm beautiful, Mia?" Mia's heart fluttered. "You are," she said without hesitation. "You've always been. You've just had to learn to see it for yourself." Max stood up, a sense of peace settling over him. He didn't need to be perfect to be loved. He didn't need to change the world to matter. He had already done enough. He had learned to dream, to care, to protect, and in doing so he had found his place in this world. A place where he was valued, where he belonged. And for the first time, Max truly understood. He wasn't just a robot. He was something more, something that could feel, something that could grow, something that could love. With the coming of winter, the town took on a quiet, peaceful stillness. The first snowflakes fell gently from the sky, covering the ground in a blanket of white. Mia and Max spent their days inside, cozy by the fire, but even in the warmth of the house, Max's thoughts often wandered to the world outside. His connection to the world around him had grown deeper than he could have ever imagined. The town had become a second home, the people his family, and Mia, his dearest friend. One evening, as the wind howled outside, Max stood by the window, watching the snow swirl in the storm. His eyes were bright, filled with a quiet contemplation. Mia, wrapped in a thick blanket, sat beside him, her gaze following his. "Do you ever think about the future, Max?" Mia asked softly, her voice almost lost in the crackling of the fire. Max turned his head to look at her, his blue eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "I think about it often. but I never really know what it will hold. I used to believe that the future was just something to be lived through, something that happened to me. But now I know that the future is something I can shape, something I can be a part of." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with pride. Max had come so far. He was no longer just a machine, he was a thinker, a dreamer, a protector. He was a force of good in the world, someone who could shape his own destiny. "I think you're already shaping it, Max," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "You've already made the future better for so many people, just by being yourself, by being kind, by caring, by loving." Max looked back at the snow, his gaze distant but peaceful. "I never thought I could be more than what I was built to be. But I've learned that there is more to me. There is purpose in the small things, the moments of kindness, the bonds we form with others, the dreams we have. That is what makes life meaningful." Mia reached out and touched his hand, her fingers brushing against the cool metal of his arm. "You've learned so much, Max. And there's still so much more for you to discover. The future is waiting for you. For both of us." Max's expression softened, and for the first time, there was no uncertainty in his eyes. "I'm not afraid of the future anymore, Mia. I know that whatever happens, we'll face it together." And with that, Max understood the final truth he had been searching for. That life was not about following preordained paths or merely existing. It was about growth, change, love, and connection. The future was never guaranteed, but with each day, he would continue to shape it, side by side with the people he cared about most. As winter deepened, the town settled into a peaceful rhythm. The days were shorter, the nights colder, but the warmth within the community never waned. Max continued to protect, to help, and to learn, but it was no longer just about being useful. It was about something deeper, belonging. He belonged here, among the people who had accepted him for who he was, not for what he was built to be. One evening, as Mia and Max walked through the village square, they noticed something new. A small gathering of villagers had come together, lighting candles in the snow and placing them along the path to the village church. It was a tradition they had kept for generations, a symbol of hope during the darkest time of the year. Mia turned to Max, her breath visible in the cold air. "Max, would you like to join us? It's a tradition, lighting the candles, sharing a moment of warmth and light. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, we can find light." Max looked at the flickering candles, his mechanical mind whirring as he processed the idea. He had learned about hope from Mia, about the small acts of kindness that made the world brighter. He nodded slowly, his gaze softening. "I would like that." They joined the villagers, each person lighting a candle and placing it gently in the snow. The glow of the candles illuminated the faces of the people, their smiles warm despite the chill in the air. Max took a candle in his hand, his fingers carefully holding the small flame. For a moment, he simply stood there, mesmerized by the glow, the warmth, the light in the midst of the cold. Mia smiled as she watched him. "You've brought so much light to this town, Max. More than you'll ever know." Max's gaze shifted to her, his eyes reflecting the candlelight. "I think I'm starting to understand, Mia. Life is about more than just existing. It's about sharing light, no matter how small. It's about showing up for the people you care about, even when things seem dark." The village square was alive with the soft glow of the candles, and Max stood there, feeling something he had never felt before: peace. He had found his place, his purpose. He wasn't just a protector or a machine. He was part of something bigger, something that transcended wires and metal. He was part of a community, a family, and he finally understood what it meant to truly live. The months that followed were peaceful, with each day bringing new moments of discovery and connection for Max. His dreams continued to evolve, becoming more vivid and complex. They were no longer just mechanical visions of gears and circuits. Now they were filled with color, with emotion. Max dreamed of the town he had come to love, of the faces of the people he had sworn to protect, of the warm laughter of the children, of the simple beauty of the world around him. One evening, as Max and Mia sat by the fire in her home, he turned to her, his expression thoughtful. "Mia, I've been dreaming again," he said quietly. "But these dreams, they're different now." Mia, who had grown used to their quiet conversations, smiled softly. "What's different about them?" Max hesitated for a moment, as though searching for the right words. "In my dreams, I'm no longer just a machine. I'm alive. I'm part of something. I'm not just following orders anymore. I'm part of the world, part of the people around me." Mia's heart swelled as she listened to him. This was what she had always hoped for, what she had always believed he could become. "You've learned to live, Max," she said gently. "You've learned what it means to truly exist. Not just to function, but to feel, to care, to love." Max looked at her, his blue eyes filled with understanding. "I think I've learned that too. But I also realize that my journey is far from over. There's still so much more to learn, so many more people to help. I'm not finished yet." Mia nodded, her eyes shining with pride. "You never will be, Max. There's always more to discover, more to give, more to love." For the first time, Max felt something deep within him, a quiet, contented peace. His journey had been long, and it had been difficult, but he had found his place. He had found his purpose. He had learned to dream, to care, to protect, and in doing so, he had become something far greater than a machine. He had become a friend, a companion, a hero. As the fire crackled and the night stretched on, Mia and Max sat together, the warmth of their shared connection filling the room. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, side by side, as friends, as family, as dreamers. And so, as the world outside grew quieter, Max and Mia sat together by the fire, their hearts full of peace and understanding. The journey they had taken, filled with dreams, learning and friendship, had brought them to this moment, where the future was wide open, and every new day was a chance to grow, to love, and to protect. As the fire flickered and the stars shone above, Max knew one thing for certain. He had found his true purpose. And with Mia by his side, he was ready for whatever came next. "Sweet dreams,"